Good morning, everyone. Well, this is as unfiltered as it gets. First thing in the morning, just threw my yoga clothes on. Actually, that's not true. I got up earlier and I meditated, and then I made my handy dandy hot water and lemon. If you're not doing this already, I highly recommend that you do. That's how I start most of my days. Hot water, lemon. I add a little bit of ginger and a dash of cayenne pepper. And it's a great way to kickstart the day. Good for digestion, good for alkalizing, and just a nice way to have a comforting little drink beside me as I practice. So again, thank you for joining me this morning. The reason I chose to do this one today is, so maybe I lied to you because I did call it yoga, seeing as I am a yoga instructor, but this is actually a body routine that I do, that many of us do, before we do our yoga practice. So what I'm going to lead you through today is a movement practice for the joints. It's really about mobilizing all of the joints in the body and moving them in their full range of motion, slowly and with control. So while it's not a yoga practice, it's a movement practice, but it's a wonderful way to get something in, some kind of movement in before you move on with your day, which also can be before my yoga practice. I often mostly do this before my yoga practice. Also, you can do it before you run. You can do it before you go and sit at your computer. Just doing it, it's just a really great way to, I always think that I'm oiling my joints before I kind of get on with my day. So that's the reason I chose doing it this morning. But you can do it any time of the day. Obviously, you don't have to do it only in the mornings, but it's really a great way to kickstart your morning. And what I find, I would say I do it almost every morning. And on mornings that I don't, I kind of think, oh, I didn't do it today. You kind of feel it in your body. So that's what I'm introducing you to today. It's a shorter practice. So really, you can do the full body in maybe 15, 20 minutes. It'll probably take a little bit more today because I'm going to go a little slower. But also in the interest of time, I'm only going to do two rounds of everything. But of course, sometimes when I'm doing my own thing, I might do a little bit more on my hips or my shoulders because of how I'm feeling that particular day. So that's what I'm introducing you to today. Come along with me, and I hope you enjoy it. So I didn't make this up. This comes from an organization called FRC, Functional Range Conditioning, which has become quite popular in the yoga world for instructors to take this training. And for me personally, I took it 2 or 3 years ago and opened up my eyes to other possibilities that integrate into a yoga practice. So that's where we are today. So we're going to start. Oh, by the way, Addie, happy 10th birthday. So sorry we can't see you in person, but here we are. So glad. 10-year-old, and she's following along with me this morning. At least I hope she is. She said she was going to. So let's start. So you're going to start either sitting cross-legged. You can do this standing. I'm just sitting on my shins, but you can sit cross-legged any way that's comfortable for you. Oh, sorry, one thing I forgot. No props. Today I have my yoga mat because I'm in my little practice nook where I have all my props anyway, but you can sit on the floor. I often do this just on a carpet. You don't need any props. You just need your body. You need to be able to stand. You need to be able to sit or, be on your knees. So anyway that's comfortable for you. We're going to start from the top and work our way down. So you start just with your spine nice and long. And you're going to breathe through this, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And then we're just going to start with a little bit of head and neck work. So you're going to drop your right ear to the right shoulder. Make sure your shoulder doesn't lift. Just let the head be completely heavy. So the head weighs anywhere from 10 to 14 pounds. And I always think this is funny because we get to use our head as props. So right now it's like you have a 10 to 14 pound weight on your head and using it to help stretch out the opposite side of the shoulder. I'm just going to hold it there. Then you take your chin nice and slow controlled movements. You take the chin to that right shoulder. Pause there. Then let your head go back gently. Lift your chin, and like you're drawing a half circle on the ceiling with your chin, take it around until the chin gets to the left shoulder. And then drop your ear to the left. And you're going to feel this beautiful stretch along the opposite side of the neck. And then bring your chin down. And then we'll go the other way. Chin to the left. Sorry, let's try it the other way. Ear to the left. Just let it hang. And then chin to the left. Let the head be heavy. And then bring it around. Nice and slow. You're going to hear a little crunching sound. Don't be alarmed by them. And then let the ear come to the right. Take the chin to the right. Drop the chin to center. And then pause. I'm going to do one more. Chin to the left. Ear to the left. Let the head be heavy. Make that half circle around. Ear to the right. Chin to the right. Chin to center. Other way. Chin to the right. Head to the right. The head just be heavy. And then let that circle happen, leading your chin around, ear to the left, chin to the left, and then to center, and then come up. So next we're going to move to the spine, and for this one I like to start standing. So you're going to stand, and you're going to have, I think you can see me here, do what we call a roll down. So your feet are about hip distance apart. You're going to tuck your chin, or rather you're just going to let your head fall, This is about, I always think when I do these, I feel like a Raggedy Ann doll, and it's like I'm losing all my weight capacity from the top down, so my head is dropping. My legs are slightly bent, and then I'm going to round my shoulders. And when I do that, I'm really thinking about the spine. I want to feel like I'm lifting up every vertebra from the one below it. I'm going to round down, bend your legs, don't hold your legs stiff. I like to spend a little extra time right here because of my lower back not being very mobile. So what I want to think about here is lifting those lower back ribs and creating more space along that lumbar spine, and my tailbone stays tucked. But I really want to spend a little bit of time to lift those back ribs. See how much space I can feel I'm getting through here. And then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until my hands just graze the floor. And again, my head is heavy, my arms are heavy. I'm just a rag doll. And then the process of coming up is going to start from here, from my pelvis. I'm going to drop my sitting bones. And then I'm going to keep coming up. One segment at a time. One segment at a time to let those sitting bones drop. The movement initiates at the pelvis. Legs are bent, and again here, I'm going to spend a little extra time lifting those back ribs. And then keep coming up, moving from the pelvis, bringing my pelvis back up to a more neutral position, and letting my upper body follow. Then we come down, chin down, shoulders drop. Resting with your hands on your knees. Your spine is relatively neutral here. And now I'm just going to do some pelvic movement. I'm going to lift my sitting bones up, let my lower back arch, and then drop my sitting bones down. These are what we call pelvic tilts. Lift those sitting bones up as high as you can, let your lower back arch, and then drop your sitting bones down, tailbone down. Notice how your thoracic spine, where the ribs are, they're not moving. Sitting bones up and sitting bones down. Two more. Lift your sitting bones up as high as you can. Lift them up. Drop them down. Round your lower back. Again, lift them up. Drop your sitting bones down. And then make your way up. Then just a little side movement. You're going to drop your head. Again, your head and your shoulders are just heavy. They're just going to lead you into the movement. Bending your legs. Start to lower down. I always feel like a marionette here, like I've got strings pulling me to the side, but not forward, just straight down to the side. Bend your legs a lot, so your fingertips pretty much come to your ankles, and then the other arm can either reach up or over the head. I personally like to reach it over the head because I feel like I get this beautiful side stretch. Reach that arm. And then when you come up, you start from the bottom. Start to straighten your legs, like the marionette strings are pulling you up, but they haven't got to the head or the shoulders yet. And finally, they move you up, and you lower that arm and do the other side. So you're going to bend the legs. Let your head go, completely heavy. You really are a rag doll. It's losing control on purpose. And then let that hand slide down, bending your legs. I see a lot of people here stuck with their legs straight. Bend them so you get more ability to move the spine. When your hands have come pretty much to your ankle, you're gonna make sure you're not leaning forward, back it up, and then reach that arm up and possibly over the head. And then really reach, feel whatever you feel. And it should feel really nice. And then again, you're being pulled up. Head hasn't moved. Coming up nice and slow. And then head rearranges and arm drops. And then pause here. Then we're going to come down. Tuck the chin. You're going to make your way down. One segment at a time. You go a little bit faster now. And then you'll come down onto your hands and knees in what we call tabletop. So again, if you're not on a yoga mat, that's fine. Put some padding under your knees. We're not going to be here too long. We're going to do cat-cow. We're going to do it in that same segmented way we've been doing. So start in your neutral spine. Press the hands into the floor. Sitting bones drop, sitting bones lift. Same thing you did a moment ago. Only this time, you're going to drop your sitting bones as much as you can. You're going to feel your lower back round. Let those back ribs spread apart and then start to round your upper back. Thoracic, segment at a time. The very end, your head drops. Now keep everything rounded at the top and start to lift your sitting bones. Let your lumbar spine, your lower back, sink into a little back bend. Then can you isolate the movement of the lower thoracic, middle thoracic, chest forward, head up. Now hold that upper back where it is, and we'll go from the bottom. Drop those sitting bones. Let your lower back round, but not your upper back. Ooh, it's so hard to control this movement. And then one segment at a time. Chin tucks. Hold everything around. This is the last one. Lift your sitting bones up. Keep everything rounded at the top. Can your lumbar spine sink? Can your lower back ribs sink without your upper ribs sinking? I think mine, I'm losing it. And then let it all lower down into a little back bend and let your chest come forward. And then come back. Pause here. That is your neutral spine. Then you're going to make your way up to standing. And we'll do some shoulder work. So I'm going to have my back to you so you can see. So again, you can do the standing. I'm just sitting so you get, hopefully you get a close-up of my back. I think you are. So shoulder blade. So I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together, lift them up, pull them apart, pull them down. Do it again. Squeeze them together, lift them up. Sorry, I think I lost it. Hold on. I've been playing with the order of these and I keep losing it. Let's do it again. Squeeze them together, lift them up, make them wide across your back, and press them down. And then do it again. Squeeze them together. So just feel like you're trying to get those inner edges of the shoulder blades to touch. Squeeze them in, and then make them, lift them up. Just the shoulder blades, not my arm bones. Lift them up, and then make them wide. Spread them across your back. This is what we call protraction. And then press them down. Then we'll do the opposite. Press them down. Bring them wide across your upper back, and then lift them up, and then squeeze them together. And then pause. Let's do it again. Press the shoulder blades down. You should feel them really pushing down. If you want, you can take your fingertips, the opposite hand, to that shoulder blade and push down into those fingertips. Push down. And then make them wide. Spread them across your upper back. Then lift them up and squeeze them together. And pause there. So that's the shoulder blade movement. Then we're going to work on the shoulder joints. Start by extending your arms. I'm running out of room here. Extend your arms straight out and only the shoulder joint. Internal rotation and external rotation. I'll do one side at a time. Internally rotate, roll that upper arm bone in, and then roll it out. Roll it in, internal, external. And notice here how the body wants to go along for the ride. Don't let it. We're just really trying to isolate. All the movements that we do, we are trying to isolate to the joints. Good. Now, we've isolated that. We're going to come up to standing. And we're going to do what we call our shoulder card. So we do it from the side. So you're going to extend that arm, make that arm really straight. The other arm, you can actually either hold on to a railing or a wall, or just really freeze it by your side. This is really important, that you're really creating tension in your body so you can isolate the movement to the joint that we're working on more. So keep that right arm down, hug it in. Then the other arm, you're going to straighten that arm also. You're going to reach it forward, palm up. Reach it up as high as you can. This is key here. You want to keep that arm straight and take it back as far as you can without changing your spine. Take it back. Now I want to go back. I need to internally rotate at the shoulder joint to take that arm back. This is a sticky point for many of us right here, arm straight. That arm is in an internal rotation, and then I bring it forward. And then I'm going to go back. Take that arm back as much as I can. My shoulder's in an internal rotation here. You can see that bone heading forward. Then to finish my circle, I'm going to move the shoulder joint to an external rotation and bring it around. Let's do that one more time. Pull that arm up. Make even more tension in your belly and your legs, the arm. Reach that arm as high as you can. As high as you can right here. And then rotate the shoulder joint, internally rotate, nice and slow. Take that hand back as much as you can. You don't want to be able to see it. Take it as far back as you can, as high as you can, and then lower it down nice and slow. Palm is facing back. Take that arm back, palm to the ceiling. Externally rotate at the shoulder joint as you bring that arm around and lower down. There you go. To the other side. So other arm is your anchor. Really make a fist. I like to make a fist. It really helps me keep that part engaged. And then the other arm. You're going to start with the arm straight, palm forward. Take that arm up as high as you can, as high as you can, as straight as you can. Then when I need to start making my circle, I'm going to rotate at the shoulder joint. Feel my arm bone coming forward. Take that arm back as much as I can, as high as I can, and then bring it forward. Then go the other way, palm back. Lift that palm to the ceiling. Go as far as you can. Externally rotate at the shoulder joint, and that will bring that arm around. Bring it back up, and then lower it back down. And then again, take that arm up. As high as you can. Internally rotate. Let that arm bone come forward. Right here, I'd like to spend a little bit of time because it's the challenging range. Lift that arm up. Keep that shoulder internally rotated and then bring it through. Then go the other way. Take it back. Externally rotate right at the shoulder joint. Then bring that arm up and then lower it down. Shake it out. You should feel like your shoulder joint's been oiled. Then we're going to do some work on the hips. So this is where I'm going to suggest you're near a wall, near something that you can hold on to, because otherwise it becomes a balance exercise, and we don't want to do that. Really want to isolate the work in the hip joint. So you're going to lift the leg and just internally rotate it and externally rotate it. Internal roll the thigh, inner thigh to the back, and then open the inner thigh forward. So that's the rotation of the hip joint. Then I'm going to squeeze the thigh to my chest, hug it in as much as I can. Use my arm to hug it in, then let the arm go and keep squeezing. The standing leg is super straight, hug it in. This is what we call hip flexion, hug it in. Now keep the squeeze between at the back of the knee and start to drop that knee. Drop that knee. Holding it here. Now we're going to visit what we call hip extension. Without changing your spine, move that thigh back as much as you can. Notice this is what wants to happen. Your lower back wants to dump, your chest wants to come forward. Hold it in. And it's just that thigh moving back, and it's not moving back a big amount, but you're going to feel the back side of the leg come to life. And then release it to the other side. This is just the prep. Standing leg straight. Lift the other leg up, internally rotate, and externally rotate. So the movement again is just at the hip joint. Internal, roll the inner thigh to the wall behind you, and then roll the inner thigh to the wall in front of you. Just visiting internal and external rotation. Then pause here and squeeze the thigh of the chest. Use your arm, pull it in. Then you're going to let that arm go and hold it there. Squeeze as much as you can. And then start to lower, but keep that squeeze at the back of the knee. Start to lower and take the knee back. Take that knee back without changing anything in your spine. The more I'm trying to push that thigh back, the more I'm going to feel my hamstrings, I'm going to feel my glutes. Those are the extenders, so use them, push them back. Push, push. You might even start to sweat if you're working hard enough. And then release. So now we're going to come into our hip circle, integrating all those movements into a circle. So hold on to something. Other arm, make it really extended and make it really firm. Front ribs, lock everything in place, so only that hip joint's moving. Hug the thigh of the chest as much as you can. Hug it in, just as we did earlier. Then we're going to open that leg out, abduct. Then we're going to internally rotate. Same thing we did earlier when the leg is bent, internal. The knee is going to drop, the foot is going to lift, hold that internal. See, I'm leaning, trying not to, and then take that leg back into hip extension. Push that thigh back without changing your spine, and then bring it forward. Then we'll go the other way. Take the thigh back, revisiting hip extension first. Keep the heel squeezing your bum, then open it out. And then make that circle, bringing it back up, hugging it in, and lowering it down. That was only one, we got to do two. Hug the thigh in, squeeze, open it out, internal, knee drops, foot lifts. Take that thigh back without changing your spine. Push the thigh back, and then bring it forward. And then take it back, thigh back, open it out, external rotate, and then lift it up. Hug it in, and then lower it down. Whew. Should feel like that was a lot of work. Otherwise, we end up doing this, which is actually not doing very much for the hip joint. So, other side. I'm moving up here so I have something to hold on to. So, you're gonna freeze that standing leg. Other leg, pull it into the chest. Extend the other arm. Make yourself really firm and in control everywhere else. The only thing moving is the hip joint. Squeeze the thigh in. Open the knee out. Thigh opens to abduction, and then drop your knee. Lift your foot. Feel that thigh internally rotate. And then keep the heel squeezing the bum as you take the thigh back. And then bring it forward. And then take it back. Thigh back, hip extension. Feel the front hip crease iron out. Then open the knee out. You're externally rotating. And then bring it back in. And give it a shake. We'll go again. Here we go. Hug the thigh in. Open the knee out. Abduct. Keep that everything else firm and in place. Internally rotate. Bring that knee down. Foot lifts. And then take the thigh back. Hold it here. And then bring it forward. Go the other way. Thigh back. Keep your heel to the bum. Then open the knee out. And then make that circle. Bring it in. Squeeze it in. Phew. And lower it down. Then we're going to make our way to the floor to do the ankle work. And then we're going to be done. So you're going to hug one arm under the thigh. I think you can see me. You're going to hold it here. And then you're going to show me your foot. Show me the sole of your foot. Then we're going to make a circle. Make a circle with your ankle. So you're going to start by turning the toes out, pulling the toes towards you, turn the toes inward, and then make that circle all the way around. So the work that we're doing here, initially, you're just going to go to the range that you can find and go the other way. But when you do these, if you do them repeatedly, You want to try to get that little extra range every time. And I have to confess, I've been guilty of this. I've been doing them, and then I've come to realize that I don't find that edge every time. So the benefit in the actual range, you're going to gain more range of motion, is if every time you do it, you move to your end point and you just try to maybe move a touch beyond, or at least meet that point every day. And then release. Other side. Ready? Flex your foot, point the toes towards you. Then move them away. Stretch out the top of the ankle. Turn the foot out, turn the foot in. And then make that circle all the way around. Getting your ankle joints ready to bear weight for you for the day. So again today, just in this spirit of time, I haven't done only two per joint, but you can do more. You can do more. I often, because of all the shoulder issues I've had, I often do more on the shoulders. Spend a lot of time on my shoulders. So it really is worthy of spending time on. So I lied. I said that was the last one. I'm going to do one more for the wrist. So I imagine that many of you are going to be going to your computers, your devices, spend hours doing some work. Let's do a little bit of work on the wrist. So you're going to extend the wrist and you're going to make a fist, a really tight fist. You're going to hold the forearm with the other hand. And then you're going to reach those knuckles to the floor. Stretch out the top of the wrist. And then reach the knuckles to the ceiling. Make wrinkles on the top of the wrist. And then turn the knuckles inward. Turn the knuckles outward. And then we're going to make a circle. Nice and slow. Let's make a few. Maybe again, we'll stick with our number 2 in each direction. And then shake it out. Let's do the other side. So make a fist, tight fist, as tight as you can. Make that fist. Brace with the other hand so the forearm doesn't move. We can isolate the movement just to the wrist. And then we're going to start. Let those knuckles come to the floor. And then reach the knuckles to the ceiling. Knuckles to the floor. Knuckles to the ceiling. Then reach the knuckles inward. Reach the knuckles outward. And again, trying to visit each of those movements, each of those ranges in your circle. So I find that isolating the range in one direction and only doing that, it kind of sets the tone, because I find when we start to make the circle, it's easier to forget where our range was. So once you kind of set it by isolation, then when you make your circle, hopefully the goal is to try to visit that end range every time. And then release, shake it out. So there you go, short and sweet. That took, probably what I did, it took a little bit longer than I had planned. But again, I really recommend that you start doing these, even if you just do the spinal ones, whichever ones really speak to your body, whatever part of the body that perhaps you're a little bit struggling with right now, shoulders, hips. Doing them all is actually what is recommended, but doing anything is better than going out. So the lesson that I always learn from my dogs, from our dogs, our pets, is I always use this as an example. Like my dog, if she's been sleeping and I want her to go for a walk, she rarely just gets up and charges, right? They have to stretch. They do a downward dog, they do an upward dog, they move their spines around. And so given that we've taken from the animal kingdom to name so many of these poses like downward facing dog, let's learn from our pets. And rather than just hopping out of bed and getting on with our day, take a little self-care. Do some work for your spine, your joints, your shoulders, your knees, your hips, and then get on your day. And it's just like a little bit of self-care that's going to carry on with you and give you a much prepare you for the day ahead. So anyway, I want to thank you again so much for joining me this morning, and have a lovely day. I hope you're all surviving. It's long, it's hard, it tries our patience, but I'm sure we all have a lot of things to be grateful also in these challenging times. So again, thank you.